And by the looks of it, we're live, right? Yeah, okay. We're live. Welcome, everybody, to another weird installment of A Week in Geekdom live on the YouTube platform. And I'm trying out a new camera angle for a specific reason. I'm toying with things. I got a mini little tripod for it, so I'm still figuring things out. So you will have to excuse me on that. But I am going to be sharing my screen, so you won't have to look at this face for all of the broadcast. So yeah, thank you and welcome back, everybody. Today it's a very chill day, and I wanted to bring something different. Usually, I like to do my seasonal reviews pre-recorded and all that stuff, but I thought, you know what, I'm getting a kick out of doing live streams, and I thought it'd be fun to do that and talk about the summer 2020 anime season, a season that was not necessarily the best, but not the worst in the slightest. A lot of people hated on some shows. I happen to watch, I think the final count is at least 15 of them, and I dropped some. And I think it was more than 15. I'm not too sure, but I dropped some definitely. But for the most part, I had fun. I always like watching new things and um, enjoying the experience, I should say. So yeah, we're gonna go over them and my overall impressions. Do not worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. If anything, you should know that two specific series out of this stream tonight, I will be doing separate videos on them, like full series reviews. We will get to that later. But for the most part, just some spoiler free impressions on the season overall. Now, the list of titles varies. I tend to watch a little bit of everything. And let's see if I can do the screen sharing thing with this angle. If I click this button, all right, cool. So, the shows that I watched. All right, let's begin with that over here. There we go. All right. Okay, so we begin this edition, this live stream, talking about decadence. Now, originally, I was going to do a separate um, a separate video for this series, like a first impressions, but I ended up not doing it and just waited to watch the whole thing. I did talk about the first episode on my summer 2020 impressions, or first impressions, I guess, or preview. I don't know what the heck I called it, but I did another stream on that, I think, where I talked a little bit in depth about episode one and how marveled I was at the animation and how clean and awesome it looked and all that fun stuff. And it turns out, let me move this around. There we go. And it turns out that this was easily my favorite show. I think at the end of 2020, this might be one of my favorite shows of the year. It was fantastic. It blew my expectations. It was so good. And the first episode, I don't want to ruin the surprise, but when you watch the first episode, there is this really cool twist that happens by the start of the second episode that just throws everything I said on that first impressions video out of the water. Just it blows it out of the water, I should say. And what we're looking at is Nut Studios, and yes, that is the studio's name. They're the ones that did Saga of Tanya the Evil. Now, this series was really cool because not only does it ruin what you think you're going to watch, but it enhances it and makes it 10 times better. You see, it's sort of a weird amalgam of, I'm going to add some titles here and say stuff like Tanya the Evil, Attack on Titan, and several other Hollywood franchises, plus playing with tropes of like giant mecha fortresses and kaiju and stuff like that to really bring you a unique series. The animation stayed crisp, clean, super detailed, and beautiful to look at, all 12 episodes long. The twist really does shift your perspective of what the protagonist or what the protagonists are, I should say, sorry, and what the story really is about. And at the end of the day, I thought it was a home run. I absolutely loved it. Super interesting characters. The art is beautiful. Natsume is easily one of the best female protagonists I've seen in anime in recent memory. I really loved that character, and she was so spontaneous and outgoing. And even though she was scared, she still tried to be fearless in the face of danger of these huge gut all, and I'm probably saying that name wrong, of these monsters that are attacking her, that I was really impressed by that, and to see her growth throughout the series. Uh, literally the first episode, she loses her family, and through the end of the series, she's so different, and I really enjoyed that. Plus, I will do a separate video on it because I kind of want to talk in depth about the spoilers because they're so good. It's such an amazing series that I think you're gonna have a fun time. Basically, these humans living in this giant mobile fortress fighting off against giant alien-like monsters, and they use that gear that you see here on the screen to fight aliens and all that stuff. So yeah, like I mentioned, if you like stuff like Attack on Titan and Saga of Tanya the Evil, you're gonna be right at home with this. And honestly, it does stick the landing. By the end, several things do happen that are a little predictable, I would say, but that doesn't ruin the experience overall of what you're getting with this action adventure series. And at 12 episodes, it's the sweet spot where you can just go in, have fun, and really enjoy a kick ass looking series. Plus, there is some really cool messages about individuality, about going against the system, if you will, and standing up for what you believe in and shedding the fear of the unknown, and being true to yourself. It's a really cool series that I cannot recommend enough. So this is easily one of my favorite things of 2020 so far. So after that, we go into the God of High School. And by the way, everybody in the chat, thank you for joining. You stopped sharing my screen. Give me a quick second. I don't know why I did that. Oh, I see what happened. Okay. All right, give me a second. Hayden, how's it going, man? Thank you so much. John and Jesse, thank you so much for joining. I'm going to minimize my screen because the window app crashed. That's kind of weird. All right, that should be back on. Chrome, Chrome, I love you, Chrome. He said sarcastically. Okay, so we're back. Just gonna click it manually then. Okay, so we are talking, of course, about God of High School. If I can get the whole thing out of the screen, but anyways, the God of High School is the latest webtoon Crunchyroll collab. They produced a series, and it is based off a popular manhwa, which is a Korean comic, or in this case, web comic, and it's the God of High School. Basically, you have these characters that are sort of living out a fighting game, but in this case, in anime form. And there's this huge tournament, and you fight, and the winner gets something granted along with many royalties. But in the way, there are a lot of secret organizations that are plotting to destroy the world and then awaken. I don't know. It was a little bit messy for me. I know it is a fantastically drawn series. It is a beautiful rendered show. And if you can, there are a couple of videos from, I think it was Crunchyroll that did the video online, where you saw the behind the scenes of how they did the mocap for the fights in this. Studio Mappa is just crushing it. They're my favorite studio right now, and they really did a good job. The fights are intense. They feel dynamic and diverse enough where you're entertained by every single one. and the things that are happening on screen, whether it's a character just straight up brawling or somebody with actual supernatural esque abilities. There are a couple of things that happen in the series where they reminded me of the stands in JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. So if you're into that sort of thing, the God of High School goes into that territory, and I think it pulls it off really well from a visual perspective. Now, the actual story, uh, I'll just say that midway, I kind of lost interest. I was more into the whole concept of them fighting and the tournament and all that stuff. And our main character, you see there in the middle of the picture, he's looking for his lost grandfather who has been kidnapped and all that stuff. And once the terrorist organizations come in and you start learning about the mythology and folklore and how they all got these strange powers, and I don't know. I thought all of that could have been saved for a later time if they would have just focused the whole first season, the whole first 13 episodes on the tournament. And I get it. The tournament later on gets some things happen. I'm not going to spoil it. I do understand that, but it just I don't know. As the series progressed, it became more convoluted with its world building and terminology, where I would be lost as to what is happening and who is who. I wanted to root for the main characters, but honestly, there wasn't enough sentimental value there for me to keep going aside from the main character's quest and the other two characters as well and their journeys. They go through some pretty emotional stuff, but it just got like super hyper fantastical at times. And at the end, it's so bombastic, which is fine by me. I'm not judging them for that. It got so bombastic that I was a little bit lost in the craziness, and I kind of lost interest in what was happening, and I was just watching it for the heck of it. But the animation is solid all the way through. It's a greatly done uh, adaptation, in my honest opinion. I checked out a little bit of the manhwa or web comic, and yeah, the anime just knocked it out of the park, in my opinion. Everything looks so smooth, clean, and badass, especially those fights. That is the highlight. And honestly, this is like a friggin' Tekken or King of Fighters game turned into a series. So if you like that kind of stuff, you're going to be right at home with the God of High School. So after that, the other series that we have here, of course, I like I said at the beginning of the stream when I was setting everything up, I like to watch a little bit of everything. I'm not constricted or restricted, I should say. I see what I did there because there's a snake lady there. Yay me. I'm not restricted by if it's an action series or a drama. I'm not going to watch fan servicey stuff. No, I'll check it out and form opinions on it and hopefully entertain you guys with it. So, Monster Girl Doctor. I don't mind the idea of fan servicey comedy at all. I don't mind it. I enjoy some shows that are in that style. And I remember when Monster Musume came out, and everybody threw a fit because of the subject matter. Now, granted, that show is extremely risque, and even I was like, I don't know about that. But I gave this a shot because I was under the impression that this was similar in tone to interspecies reviewers. And I'm going to talk about another series later on in this stream that I thought was like that as well, where it is a comedy. It's smart. It is not smartly written, but it's clever in its comedy and the way it's presenting its characters and the world and all that stuff. So I thought it was going to be like that. Turns out, not so much. If Monster Musume is 100% fan service, Monster Girl Doctor, I would say, is like maybe 10 to 15% of that. It, for the most part, it was actually slightly, a tiny little bit raunchy yet wholesome experience as you have this main character inhabiting this world where monster people exist, and he's the town doctor, and it's mostly case of the week type scenarios. But his fellow co-worker and assistant, the snake there, Safi, I think that was her name. She's in love with him because they've known each other since children, and this is a world there. just came off of a massive war between monsters and humans, and now they've integrated and are trying to coexist and live peacefully. So I like that idea. I like when you're throwing characters like that around, and obviously you're playing with the concept of monster people. I guess I don't know. It can get a little bit weird at times, but for the most part, you're gonna be invested in the cases that the good doctor is trying to solve. Plus, the Snake Girl is my favorite character in the whole series. So yeah, don't judge me. So yeah, Monster Girl Doctor. I liked it. It's not like the best show ever. I'm not saying this is like A plus top tier material, but if you've got nothing else to watch and you're up to some for some bonkers comedy slice of life thing, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. I think it's a fun watch and certainly a million times better than Monster Musume. I enjoyed this a whole lot, and seeing all the different characters as you can see in the picture, harpies, centaurs, mermaids, stuff like that. I'm a huge fan of folklore and mythology and all that, so I got a kick out of it. Seeing the different reinterpretations of these famous tropey characters. I don't know, but yeah, it's all right. Nothing too fancy. So the next series that we're going to talk about, this was from spring 2020, but it got delayed because of the pandemic. It is Apare Ranman. I did a first impressions video on that, and I'm going to do a full series review on that because along with Decadence, this is one of my favorite shows of 2020. This was fantastic. I was emotionally invested in this. The characters are really, really well written and diverse. It's such a lively, colorful, and different cast than what you're used to when it comes to anime. You have characters from England, you have characters from America, you got characters from Japan, from China, so on and so forth. And we have even North American Indian representation in this series, which is really rare for an anime to do. And the young kid, uh, shoot, I forgot his name, Hotaro. I think it was Hotaro. I'm probably butchering that name. He was a delight to see and his journey and all the different characters. The show was done by PA Works, if I remember correctly, and it's just such a blast. You have these characters arriving in California to take part of a huge race across the United States. I think the final goal was New York, and the winning prize was some $100,000. And the main characters are going to win it. And along the way, you get to fall in love with the cast. There's obviously some evildoers in here, and they go through a lot. And at first, I was a little bit upset, and I mentioned that on my first impressions video, that I was upset that it didn't get into the race right away, but I understood why they were doing that because you wanted to get to know everybody better. And that doesn't stop with the first episodes. As you continue watching the series, every episode you learn more about every character. And I have trouble pronouncing this name. Xiang, the Chinese woman in this series, is my favorite character. She's a badass, and her motivations for wanting to be a race car driver in a sexist sport that is racing is really awesome and badass. And I was really rooting for her. Same with Apare and everybody else. It's just a really cool series, and immediately I thought, man, if David Production ever gets to animate JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 7 with the Steel Ball Run, I would imagine it would be something crazy like this. So it made me even more hyped up for that. But yeah, Apare Ranman is so awesome, and I cannot recommend it enough. When you reach the Daybreak Hot Spring episode onward, it just keeps getting so much better with every episode. I absolutely loved it, and I cannot recommend it enough. So yeah, I will be doing a separate video on that. But just know that when I do my top anime of 2020 at the end of the year, this is definitely going to be in there. I thought this was fantastic, in my honest opinion. So after that, We got another series I made a video on, the Millionaire Detective Balance Unlimited. I made a first impressions. This was also supposed to come out in spring of 2020, but it got delayed because of the pandemic, and we got it now in the fall, or not the fall, the summer season, late summer. And this was really good at only 11. By the way, all of these episodes, all of these shows, sorry, are around 12 to 13 episodes, and this one was a little bit shorter at 11. This is based off a popular detective novel series where you have this billionaire playboy type character who's not only is he a detective, he's a police officer, and he goes around solving cases with sort of, imagine like having like Jarvis from Iron Man in your in this case he has it in his glasses and earrings and all that stuff, and can access an unlimited budget and throw any amount of money to solve things. The first 5 episodes are sort of case of the week, if you will, and it's not until episode 5 hits at the end where you're really introduced to the main bulk, the main story of this, and the mystery behind his family, Kanbei's family, and how they are going to impact Japan and the rest of the world. And there's murder mysteries and crime solving and all that stuff. Really, really awesome stuff. If James Bond were an anime with the sensibilities of a Marvel comic, I think this would be it. I think Millionaire Detective is a really cool series that everybody should check out. Don't judge it on the first couple episodes. Just give it some time for it to breathe, and it becomes something really awesome. I could easily see this in a live action adaptation or a Hollywood remake, stuff like that. I think it would translate perfectly. So, yeah, I really liked it. It's done by Cloverworks. They also did The Promised Neverland, so you're getting top quality animation. I love the character designs. It crossed the border of realistic with slightly cartoonish expressions, and I really enjoyed it. I will be doing another video on this. So, Decadence, Ranman, and Millionaire Detective, I'm going to do like full deep dive reviews on them. So, look forward to it on this channel. The other show that I've been watching, of course, is Black Clover. Season 3 is still going. They had to suspend the broadcast because of the pandemic, and I'm so upset because even though I love Black Clover, we're so close to the manga that they've been airing filler arcs with the supervision of the mangaka. That's okay. I don't mind that at all. I don't mind filler episodes because I understand the dynamic of adapting a manga into television, right? But what upsets me is that I went ahead and read the manga, and I'm up to date with what's happening, and it's so amazing. It's so badass. And to be still stuck here on that 6 month gap, there's a training segment that's happening where they have 6 months to train before they can fight off the evil antagonist characters of the story, and the fillers are stuck there, which is a natural thing to do. That's perfect. When there's a training gap, that's the way you do it. You add some fillers. And it looks like all the rest of season 3 is just going to be devoted to fillers. And I don't know. The concept is good. They have some good ideas plot wise. It's just the execution. I just find it really boring. And I just wish we could move on and get started with season 4 so we can see the really awesome stuff that's going to happen. It's I cannot wait for that. So yeah, I love Black Clover, but not a fan of what's been airing so far, and it's still ongoing. You know, the season ended, but we still got like I think like 10 or 11 more episodes. So oh boy. The next one is Usaki-chan Wants to Hang Out. I remember. I think that was the full name of that series, and for some reason, I did not know that a lot of people in Japan, I want to say, or people that were polled, do not like Uzaki. I know she can be a handful and annoying, but that is what made me love this series so much. It is silly, stupid fun. Uzaki is um, she's entering college and she sees her senpai. He's a year older, and they studied together in high school and all that stuff, and now they're in college, and she wants to hang out with him. So you get slice of life comedies about their interaction. He's so serious and hard edged, and you see him and you get scared because he has a very menacing look, but he's just a big old softy. He's just has a tough exterior. Meanwhile, Zaki, she's just a blast, and she just wants to hang out, play video games, eat some good food, travel. So if you like that kind of thing with a little raunchy humor thrown in there, you're gonna have a fun time. I enjoyed her constant trolling. I thought it was masterful and really funny. I guess I'm in the minority where I really enjoyed it, and I'm very much looking forward to season two. I always laughed out loud watching the episodes, and I think it was 12 episodes. You can't go wrong. It's a nice way to spend a good afternoon laughing at crazy antics on characters trying to troll each other and get under each other's skins, stuff like that. So yeah, I liked it. I know a lot of people were upset with her character, and what can I say? I like a good troll, I guess. So the next one that I'm going to feature here is Diary of Our Days at the Breakwater. This, my friends, is easily one of the pinnacles of wholesomeness when it comes to anime. Just like I can tell you that I watch something really badass, something slightly raunchy, fan servicey, and then I can watch something completely wholesome. I'm like that. I'm weird like that. I like to be a little diverse in my anime watching. But Diary of Our Days at Breakwater is simply about these girls at a school, middle. I think they're middle school, like or high school, and they have a fishing club, and the main character joins by accident. She really wanted, she's kind of shy at first, and she really wanted to be in arts and crafts and all that stuff, but she gets tangled into joining the fishing club, and she ends up really loving that club. The plot isn't super deep at all, but you just have fun and you relax and unwind with these characters. You learn about fishing, you learn about ocean life, which I'm very passionate about. I love animals, and I don't have the resources for it, but I hope to be able to spread the positivity to protect our wildlife and all that stuff. So I'm very passionate about that. And to have a show like this teach its audience to respect nature, to respect animals, and to have a healthy ecosystem with the marine life is really wholesome and sorely needed in today's climate. I love this series so much. It is wonderful, and to get these characters to learn about that stuff, fish, and enjoy what they're catching, and sometimes they let the fishes go. Obviously, sometimes they catch it and eat it. That's okay. But it's part of a healthy ecosystem that you can. It's not like they're invading the ocean and snatching everything, and they're being respectful, and the main characters learning about all that stuff. So I really appreciated that aspect. Plus, the series always ended every episode with a haiku by the different girls, and the last one was my favorite, teaching the audience that they want us to keep the ocean safe for hundreds of years, for generations to come, so that everybody can admire and enjoy the beauty of nature and the ocean. So I thought that was spectacular. There were even episodes dedicated to showing the effects of our pollution and how it affected what was the bird? It was a pelican, I think, and it had lost its leg because it was tangled up with the fishnets and all that stuff. So they had to, or it lost its leg. I don't know if they cut it or I don't know how that happened, but the pelican, the bird was missing his leg, and the main character, researches all that stuff on her computer and learns about the side effects of humans interacting with wildlife. So yeah, on my trinity of wholesomeness, I even made a meme out of this. I would put this right there. You got Diary of Our Days at Breakwater, Laid Back Camp, and A Place Farther Than the Universe. Those are the the holy trinity of wholesomeness to this day. It might change later on, but for now, those are my top three wholesome shows. And hopefully, you guys are interested enough and can look past the, oh, it's just cute girls doing stuff, and look into the nature of the show and all that stuff. So after that, we move on to Digimon, which had its first three episodes air back in spring 2020, but again, it got delayed because of the pandemic, and now we're getting the full series. It's going to be 66 episodes, I think. And as of this video, the last one that aired, I want to say was 17 or 18, something like that. This is great. I have loved Digimon all my life since I was a kid. I remember watching Digimon Saturday mornings, Fox Kids. I loved the movie and the seasons two, three, four, whatever. Well, season four, not that much. Nor did I enjoy season five. But still, I love the franchise. I've played the video games, and to have this back is kind of surreal on the anniversary, I guess, of Digimon. Uh, Try and the Last Evolution movie. People really like those, but the Toei Animation just wanted to go back, I guess, and reboot Digimon in the year 2020, and it has been phenomenal. I have enjoyed every single episode. I like that we're telling the same story, but with totally different pathways, I guess, for it to grow. And we're getting the same story beats, just redrawn and retold in different ways, adding new elements. And it's always it's like watching a new show. I know what's going to happen, but it's a treat to see how they go about it. Plus the evolutions and the music and just hearing everybody again. It's just I love it so much. I've had such a really wholesome, fun time watching this series again. So I do recommend it. If you enjoyed the original Digimon series, you're going to be right at home with this. Here we go. This is the other raunchy show that I was going to talk about. It is Peter Grill's The Philosopher something something. I was under the impression, from what I read online, that this was very similar to Interspecies Reviewers, and I'm like, all right, I loved Interspecies. I thought it was hilarious. I really had a good time with that. By the way, not safe for work at all. Just so we're clear, don't get mad at me, internet. So Peter Grill, uh, this was just a mess. Plus, super short. Each episode was 12 minutes, so half an episode of a regular anime episode. I did not enjoy this whatsoever. Basically, if you don't know what this is about, the main character, he's the strongest fighter in the world, and all the hot babes, I guess, they want to have children with him. But he is committed to the human girl that you see there. And that's about it. There's nothing there. And it's just he's a terrible character surrounded by terrible um, uh, girls and in a terribly boring setting where it's just raunchy fan service with terrible, horrible, horrendous characters. I hated everything about it, and I watched it all because it was only 12 episodes. I actually watched it at different lunch breaks, and I every time I kept thinking, why am I still watching this? This is terrible. I guess I just wanted to see how the story unfolded for a season two, because it does end on a cliffhanger. I'm not gonna go back. um I could care less. Plus, you're kind of fooled by that image, because that visual key or poster looks better than half the series. Plus, I love when a series is raunchy and it gets censored and you see some sort of censorship on it. So, I, but still, it could not save it from being a really boring, terrible, unfunny series. I don't know. If you liked it, that's awesome. I'm not going to judge. People like what they like, and that's okay. That's great. I just didn't like this at all and would not recommend it. So, let's see. The next one is, of course, one of the most wholesome shows of 2020, Fruits Basket second season. This was even better than the first season. I loved it so much. I thought it was great, and I loved the exploration of the Zodiac family, and there's so much trauma and there's so much hate and wrongful things that happen to these characters that you can't help but feel sorry and want to embrace them and tell them that everything's going to be all right. They go through such hardships, but at the end, Toru is she's the key, I guess, right, to the whole thing. And I'm very much looking forward to season three, which is supposed to come out. Does it have a date? Um, I don't think it has a date, but I would assume early 2021 we'll have the final season of that. And it's been such a delight. The art kind of dips at some points, which I wasn't a huge fan of, but overall, it's a really awesome proper adaptation. This is like the Brotherhood when it comes to adaptations, where you had the previous one, which was really beloved, but this is clearly the superior series to watch, like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. So yeah, I cannot recommend it enough. Really good stuff right there. Next up, another fan servicey show. This is, and I always have a tough time pronouncing this. Super H Heroes, X Heroes. Basically, when I was doing my first impressions summer review overview, I mentioned, oh, this is going to be fun because it's sort of like a raunchier Super Sentai parody. I got none of that. Yes, there are tropes and the characters are terribly written, but if you watch the opening animation, that's not what the show's about. Yes, they're fighting monsters and all that stuff, but out of the 12 or 13 episodes, I would think probably 5 or 6 of them are dedicated to nonsense and weird fan service about these characters. Like they're fighting creatures that can suck out human desire, and that's what fuels them. So the characters are like super perverted heroes, hence the name HX Heroes. It's weird, but there's nothing there, and you got your typical tropes with tsundere characters. It's plus the final 3 episodes are really badly drawn, in my opinion. The only redeeming quality about this title, in all honesty, the opening has the best opening song of 20 of the season, not the whole 2020, but of the summer season, and it's X Heroes by Burnout Syndromes. That is it's straight fire. I love that song so much. It was so badass. And you watch the opening and you're like, all right, even though it's kind of fan servicey, I could get behind it because they're gearing up with the weird fetishy costumes and they're gonna fight off these evil monsters, tokusatsu style, all that stuff. We really don't get that. You get those costumes, and this is a slight spoiler in episode they're teased near the end, and you only see them in their full getup at the end of the season. Obviously, because I guess they want to continue adapting the manga and do all that stuff. But when your main selling point is right there on the opening, and you don't deliver on that for 11 freaking episodes, I was so disappointed. I don't like to drop series, even though they're bad. I'll keep watching, but I doubt I'll ever go back to this series again. It was just it was just bad. It was just okay. I don't know, not my thing whatsoever. Missed opportunity. Plus the animation. If you see that, if you look at that visual key, it looks really cool. I like the drawings, but it doesn't look like that. I very I'm gonna say like 3 or 4 episodes had like really good animation. The rest was just so underwhelming, man. I was really disappointed at that and kind of upset too. This, which as of this recording, ended today. For me, I watched the season finale or the finale for the first half of season 2 of ReZero. This was phenomenal. I loved this so much more than season 1. And season 1 was great, and you met so many memorable characters from Rem and Ram and Roswell and Amelia and all these wonderful characters. And this just explores the series further. Some really, the first one was about world building. This is about the psychology behind these characters and the emotional impact of what Subaru can is doing in this world and his revive after death and all that stuff. Plus, at the core of the series, the message of the first half of season two is all about mental health, basically, and self care and loving yourself and finding worthiness in what you're doing and believing that other people care and love you. That is fantastic. I love that so much that a show can go into that with every theme and actions that they're taking. The animation is fantastic all the way through. The characters, so many characters are introduced. This is the type of show where you're getting introduced to a lot of concepts, and you think you understand what's happening, and then they throw you like 100 different more questions, and you're confused, but you're still enjoying it. At the end, I'm still thinking about what I saw, and there's a couple mysteries that are unsolved that I'm just like, what the heck is going to happen? Several revelations about certain characters, certain things that you wanted. If you've been watching since the very first episode, there are things that you want the series to tackle and certain events to happen, and you get that in this season. And it's shocking and beautiful and dangerous and sexy looking. This is a really slick looking series. I love it so much. I'm hooked. I was even toying with the idea of getting into the light novels simply because I want to read everything about ReZero and not have to wait for the anime. So we'll see about that. But for the most part, I'm so excited. This is easily one of the best shows of 2020, and I cannot wait for the second half of season two, which I think it's in January 2021, the remaining 13 episodes. So I'm really excited about that. I think it's going to be pretty fantastic. This next one is not that fantastic. This is The Misfit of Demon King Academy. It is well drawn and has some really interesting concepts, but at the end of the day, I thought it was just another convoluted mess and it fell completely flat, especially halfway point towards the end. Basically, you have a character that is a reincarnated demon, tyrannical demon lord that was resurrected after 2,000 years, and now he's a teenager. So he's entering this academy, and the world sort of forgot about him. And similar to real life, certain historical people and things get twisted around throughout the decades and centuries, and it gets like the finer details get lost through history. I like that about this show, that it tackled that subject, but it just goes into tropey stuff with teenage characters falling in love with him, admiring him, and then him wanting to reclaim what was lost and to for everybody to learn that he's who he is. But the main problem I have with this, that's all fine, by the way. The main problem I have with this series is that the main character is so overpowered. I cannot invest myself in a character like that. Every single time the character gets into trouble, he finds a Deus Ex Machina solution in that, oh, I am just super badass and overpowered. Nothing can hurt me, yada yada. Here's this secret technique, blam, blam, blam. Story's over. We move on to the next episode. And the same thing happens over and over. At the end of the series, there is a challenge. Um, at the end of the series, there is this thing that happens where you have basically human characters against demons and prejudice and racism and all that stuff. That's great. You can tackle that stuff. That's awesome. But it was so convoluted where you have characters ignoring certain quests near the end to go do something else, and that never gets addressed until the very end. And the main fight, it's all very flashy looking, but kind of a mess. It's like you took 24 episodes or 50 and just condensed them all into 6 episodes to tell a story. I think it needed a little bit more breathing room. I don't know. That's just my opinion. I know it was really popular. I was really surprised by that. A lot of fans of this show. The action in it is really good though, and there are is like certain violent scenes that happen where I was surprised because you would think that would be a tamer show, but when somebody gets murdered in this, like you see the full action and all the blood and stuff. So I was really surprised by that. hopefully it does come back and they're able to better. I don't know, maybe the pacing or something, the translation from light novel to anime. Maybe they wanted to get the whole story in 13 episodes. I just didn't like it. I liked the first half, and then it just went off the rails into stuff that I did not care for, especially that fight between the demon school and the humans. I could care less about it. I was a little bit underwhelmed by it. Next up, the fan favorite rom com of the season. It is Rent a Girlfriend. What I do like about this, and I'm going to be completely honest with you guys, I enjoy that with a series like Uzaki, and now with Rent a Girlfriend, you don't have high school characters. I really appreciate that because you grow up watching anime and you sort of want your characters to grow up as well with you, and to have so many rom-coms set in high school, I can't really connect with that at all. Some are fine, like Nisekoi I happen to like, and stuff like that, but to have this where it's in college and the characters are a little bit more mature, even though weird stuff is happening that we wouldn't see that here in the West, it's still fun. And to have the main character be so heavily flawed, but yet kind of realistic. Honestly, a lot of people are like that. I'm not saying he's to be admired, but the character does make attempts to better himself. Obviously, uh, he falls because of tropes and stuff, and I guess story beats that the author wants to do, like a beach episode, or finally trying to confess something and then reverting back to where it started. It can be a little bit frustrating, but at the end of the day, the animation is beautiful and the color palette on the show is insanely good. I love the colors on this show. And the four main girls, they're fantastic characters. It's upsetting that so many people would get angered and triggered by Mami-chan simply because she's a mean character. And I get it, she's sort of an antagonist for the series, but people are really weird online and they get really triggered by stuff like that. I'm like, okay, buddy, just calm down. It's just a show. So, but yeah, regardless, a really fun series, funny, and the characters are great. Uh, I loved the four girls, and everything about it was really fantastic. And I was upset because I didn't know that the manga was still ongoing, so I was upset that we wouldn't be getting a season two, but no, it was announced that we are in fact getting season two next year. So I'm really excited about that to continue that story. But overall, I liked it. I think my favorite out of the four, I think it's Sumi, simply because Rie is voicing her, and she's one of my favorite actors. So I might be biased, but Sumi-chan, I think she's great. Alrighty, so the next one, I think that's the last one, right? Oh no, 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 we got another one. Fire Force season two. I forgot about that. It's still ongoing because it's 24 episodes, but still, we've already watched the first 12 or 13. And what was lacking in season one with the whole world explanations and a little bit more compelling drama and all that stuff, this has it and much more. David Production is knocking it out of the park, in my honest opinion, with this adaptation. It's better than season one in its animation. The first episode literally is a 30-minute movie. The budget on that is insane. And as you keep watching, every episode is so fluid, dynamic, and pretty to look at. And you get more exposition. And you're not just focusing on our main character, you're getting that world building and you're understanding the secrets behind this world and with the Amaterasu and all that stuff. I love it. And especially the last episode that I saw with Joker and all that stuff, just really cool stuff and really tragic characters overcoming obstacles to find out the truth behind the truth. So sort of reminded me of Full Metal Alchemist in that way. But yeah, I've been loving this and cannot wait to continue watching Fire Force. Just in an artistic merit alone, this is easily one of the best shows of the year, in my honest opinion. So yeah, I can't say enough, sing enough praises. Also, let me go back here real quick. Uh, I went back as I like to do with anime seasonal reviews, and I sprinkle old shows throughout the season to fill in the gaps when there's no new episodes. For example, on summer 2020 season, I think like Thursdays, Wednesdays and Thursdays, I didn't have anything to watch, so I sprinkled three shows and actually more, but these are the ones I actually finished, and that would be, let's see right here, Dashin Dropkick. I watched the first season because I was so intrigued by the kooky concept of the devil and how it's so bizarre, and the humor and the characters and all that stuff, that I wanted to check it out. The first season, it's on Prime, and I really enjoyed it. It was so bizarre but yet wholesome at the same time, and this is the type of wacky comedy that I'm into, where I just enjoyed it. So I do recommend that. I went back. I only watched season one when it came out, so I went back and I said, you know what? Since season five ended now, I want to catch up and watch everything. So I went back and watched season one again, and I had a blast. I love Food Wars, and this it's always a treat to watch culinary stuff, whether it's animated or live action. I like that stuff. So I revisited Food Wars season one. So for next season, fall 2020, I am going to revisit season two, or actually watch season two for the first time and give you some thoughts on that as well. But I loved it. I watched this on Blu-ray, and Megumi is still my favorite character. She's awesome. So yeah, definitely enjoyed that. And I finally watched Inuyashiki, the anime adaptation. This was an experience. I was shocked. I was fist pumping. I loved Inuyashiki. I thought it was fantastic. Really cool series, a really interesting premise. I knew what it was about. I didn't know the resolution of it, but I was shocked at some of the things that happened in this series. Mappa, once again, just killing it with the CG stuff, and they're able to do computer animated stuff in their anime that doesn't look bad. I don't like computer animated stuff in anime, but Mappa finds the sweet spot, I guess. Some shots of the two of them flying around kind of bugged me, but that was so minuscule compared to the rest of this show. Ah, man, this was really badass. I enjoyed it so much, and I was shocked. It had me tearing up at times. This was one of the finest experience in recent memory, watching a new series for me, because this came out, I think, 2017 or so. But this was really cool stuff. I do recommend that as well. So that is it, guys. That's that. 52 minutes. Jesus Christ. All right, I thought it was going to be less. I didn't know I could go on talking about anime for an hour straight by myself, but here we are. The summer 2020 season is over. I thought it was fun. A little bit convoluted at times with stuff like God of High School and the Demon King and all that stuff. Uh, Fan servicey stuff like Monster Girl. Really cool stuff like Apare Ranman, which continued and ended. Same with Millionaire Detective. Black Clover's in filler, mini filler hell, which I'm bored by it. Uzaki was funny. This was the most wholesome thing ever. Digimon is great. This was kind of trashy. I don't recommend it. X Heroes, it's okay. Just really severely underwhelming. So yeah, that is that. I'm gonna leave that for a minute there. So that's it, guys. That was my overview, I guess, of the summer 2020 season. Now for fall, I think I got like 19 shows. It's going to be insane. There's a lot of stuff I want to watch. I'm not going to share my list here, but I'm going to tell you the names real quick. If the website can open, right? So if anybody got All right, fall 2020. In fall 2020, I'm going to be continuing Black Clover, Fire Force, Attack on Titan, which premieres in December. That's going to be great. So the final season. Jujutsu Kaisen, which debuts 2 days from this video. So that's going to be great. Probably going to do first impressions on that simply because it's a hot title. Haikyuu's coming back, and I do want to watch it, but I need to catch up because I've only watched the first season and a half of that series. When They Cry, the reboot, I really want to see that and review it. Um, Great Pretender was a series that debuted in the summer, but I didn't. I only watched one episode, so I can't comment on it yet. But it's fantastic. Kuma 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 Bear looks really funny. Golden Camuy third season. I need to watch season two and catch up with that. The Moriarty series. I'm not too sure. I'm kind of burnt out on Sherlock Holmes material. Um, Yashahime, which is the sequel to Inuyasha. Definitely going to be watching that. I love Inuyasha. Sleepy Princess Castle. I'm going to watch that as well. Majo no Tabi Tabi. I don't know the English name. What the heck? This is about the girl witch something. I'm gonna watch that because I like series with witches. And what was the other one here? There's a sports one with sport climbing girls. It looks interesting. I like that it's out of the box and you're not doing your typical sports show. It's climbing and rock climbing and all that stuff. So I will check it out. I'm a little bit scared because the posters or the visual keys look great, but the actual stills from what I've seen in previews have me a little bit concerned. So we'll see. The other show that I do want to check out and talk about is Dragon Quest. I'm new to the Dragon Quest fandom, so I'm really excited about that. This is based off the manga, which is based on the or loosely based on the games, I guess. But still, I'm really excited about that, and I will be doing a first impressions that premieres, I think, in like 2 days from this episode. I am going to continue Digimon, obviously, and there's one called Taiso Samurai from Studio Mappa, which is a sports Olympics anime. Definitely gonna check that out. And Gal Dino, I reviewed that. I made a first impressions video on that in the spring. It got delayed, but we still gotta wait like another month for it. So when that comes out, I think by the end of October or the end of November. There was only like 3 episodes left, so I will be talking about that. That was pretty bizarre and funny. And that's about it, right? There are a couple weird ones here, like um, I can't find it. I'm at Live Chart, by the way, if anybody's interested in that site. They do a pretty good job. Shoot. Hmm. Well, there was another one that I can't find, which looks like a colorful magical girl inspired show. I don't know. I might be thinking of something else, but still, that's mostly what I'm going to be watching for fall 2020. Brian, what's a good starting point when getting into the Gundam series? Is War in the Pocket a good start? War in the Pocket is good, but just be aware it is literally a pocket-sized adventure of a much larger universe. If you want to get into the Universal Century stuff, if you don't mind starting from the very beginning with the movie trilogy, do that. But if it's a little bit too old and you want more late 80s and modern drawings, definitely start with the Gundam Origins OVAs, just 6 of them. And if you enjoy that, go back and watch the original Mobile Suit Gundam series. Um, it gets kind of repetitive, Monster of the Week, so I do prefer the movie trilogy over it. It's much more condensed and a better sounding experience to Gundam. So I do recommend watching the movie trilogy over the TV show. But definitely go and watch the Origin OVAs. That's what I would recommend. because Warren the Pocket is sort of like you have your main adventure, and Warren the Pocket takes place in this specific area with side characters dealing with stuff that I'm not going to spoil, but it's a very beautiful, tragic, badass OVA series. But I think Origin would be a great place to start. It's based off the Origin manga, which is sort of a retelling in manga form of the starting point for Gundam. Sorry. Let's see. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Tomorrow for this video, I'm going to be posting my. It's not a dedicated update, but it is like the 2020 updated anime collection video. So I don't. You can see the Billy shelf behind me, where I keep all my anime Blu-rays. So if you want to watch that, that is going up tomorrow on this channel, and then on Friday, I haven't really decided, but I'm 90% sure it's going to be a live stream. I will be talking about the Image comic series Skyward. I read it recently, and I wanted to do a video on it. And I know that in the long run that hurts the channel, because the channel in 2020 has sort of taken a drastic turn to what I kind of wanted it to be, which is anime and manga based, because that's my main passion for it. And yeah, doing comic videos I know hurts the channel. Not the anime and manga crowd don't necessarily want to watch that stuff, but I do have a lot of fans and a lot of subscribers that like when I do comic based content, so I can't neglect that. That's why the new schedule is typically manga videos on Mondays, and then you get anime stuff on Wednesday, and I leave all the comic book videos for Fridays. So I look forward to that, guys. John, do we have the winners for the September polls? I'm going to share that right now because let's make it official, right? Let's give me a second. Let me open my YouTube page here. Thank you, everybody who voted. That is fantastic of you. You guys are the best. Let's go to my YouTube thingamajig. Let's share my screen. Stop sharing. Share the screen application. Okay, Chrome tab. There we go. Okay, so here's my YouTube channel right there. There's my banner. Here we go. Those were posted 3 weeks ago. Here are the 4 manga that I picked for you guys to vote on that I should review in October. These videos will be up on the last week of October, so I will get started on that this week, reading and watching what you guys selected. So the options were that time I got reincarnated as a slime, which got 17% of the votes. You got My Hero Academia Vigilantes, which got 26% of the votes. You got Venus in the Blind Spot from Junji Ito, that got 23% of the votes. And the winner, officially, I am going to be reviewing in October Pluto, the 8-volume manga series from Naoki Urasawa. So I'm really excited about that. I've read Pluto so long ago, so I can't wait to go back and revisit the series. It's so good. And I want to see if it compares to my first reading of it, and if I still love it like that first time. As for anime, here we go, anime right there. All right. For anime, I put up JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Fate Stay Night, Heaven's Feel, the first movie, Zammed Lost Memories, it's a sci-fi mecha series, Shiki, which is horror themed. I dropped horror stuff in there because it's October, and I know people would ask like, "Hey, you should do horror themed videos." So I gave you guys a chance to vote for that, but you voted for something else. And finally, Ride Your Wave, the motion picture. What ended up winning is JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1. So I'm going to be reviewing the first 8 episodes of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, the beginning of the long running series. So yeah, that is officially it. I'm not going to. I'm gonna leave the polls there for the remainder of this week, but I'm not gonna even gonna go back and check on them. They will be deleted later on, and we will put up, or I will put up more polling options for November. So thank you everybody who voted. That is really awesome. So yeah, look forward to Pluto and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 1 in the month of October. And I will do some horror themed stuff. Don't worry about it. Plus, you can catch me on the Manga Collector Show over at the Omnibus Collectors Network, where we will be talking horror manga all throughout the month. So that's going to be exciting too. So that's it. Hopefully, you guys um, dig that stuff and are excited about it. I certainly am. I can't wait to start reading and watching that stuff for October. So thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing. I've got to go. This episode has gone on for long enough, and I'm sure you guys have something better to do. Thank you, everybody, again for tuning in and watching me ramble on and talk about seasonal anime. I love doing that. I love watching seasonal shows. And I shared with you, or I talked about what I'm going to be watching. Hopefully, you guys can watch that stuff too and come back at the end of the fall season in this January, December. Yeah, well, October, November, December. Yeah, December. And we will talk about all that stuff and geek out about fall 2020. So thank you once again. If you're new to the channel, I do content like this where I talk anime, comics, and manga. You can subscribe, and if you do subscribe, it'll help out a ton. Hit the like button and remember to hit the little bell icon so you know when new videos pop up and you don't miss a single one. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do so by following me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all that fun stuff. Thank you guys so much. I hope this camera angle didn't weird you guys out because it's taking some time getting used to because I'm looking at my monitor here. But thank you once again for supporting We Can Geek Them and being the wonderful people that you guys are. Hayden, thanks for being one of the coolest, most wholesome guys around. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. I try to spread positivity. That's the main goal of this channel, and to entertain you guys with what I think about weeb stuff, right? Anime, manga, all that stuff. So thank you guys. God bless. Stay safe out there, and we look out for the collection video tomorrow on anime, and then I'll probably be back live Friday night 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about the Image comic series Skyward. So see you then, guys.